Scotland has a very interesting system. They have 129 total parliament uh, members. I believe 59 of them still go to Westminster, and they're still involved in the UK's parliament. They've basically been pushing for independence since 1999, some of the Scottish parties. And so I basically wrote my paper over the 2014 referendum election, which would decide whether or not Scotland would take its independence from the UK. And that one actually failed by 55%. It failed mainly because people were scared about how Scotland would act as an independent nation compared to the protections that it had with the UK. The opponents who were trying to separate Scotland from the UK, one of the main things they said was that Scotland was forced to be involved in the Iraq situation in 2003 because the UK was involved in the Iraq situation. And so one of the main things they were saying is that if Scotland could act as an independent force, they could register with the EU as an independent nation instead of just behind the UK. The 2014 referendum election is groundbreaking because it shows that there are way more supporters for independence than we thought. Most of I think 70% of the 18 to 49 age range voted in favor of Scotland eventually becoming independent. So I think most of what is going on in Scotland, some of their older people that they have in Parliament are kind of behind in the times. Clearly, the younger generation is looking for independence. Scotland's immediate response to COVID-19 and the recent pandemic has also proven to some of the opponents that Scotland would be better off functioning as an independent nation. I guess they proved to the majority during that time that they were able to function as an independent nation. And so that's kind of what has drawn further interest in Scotland becoming independent. They are still considered a constitutional monarchy, and they have a partially devolved parliament, meaning that they have their own parliament, but they're also still involved in the UK's parliament. But it seems like when I was writing this paper, I actually discovered that some of the bigger issues when it hits to an international scale go through the people in parliament in Westminster and not necessarily the ones in Scotland. I also learned that they have a broad spectrum for council. They have 32 council areas, and they don't treat them like city councils. They treat them more as regional councils, and they could include cities and townships and villages, etc., that they represent, and they handle kind of the day-to-day things within the community, but I don't believe they handle taxes. That's on the broader scale that goes to the parliament. So their government system is a little bit different than the UK's, and it's definitely different than the United States. Like I said, they don't really have a city council set up. It's more of just a broad overview of regions, and the cities themselves report to these regions. So basically, overall, this has been an interesting experience researching Scotland's involvement with the EU and their push to become an independent nation and register themselves in the EU. So I think it's going to be interesting going forward, seeing what they're going to do.